The most insane punishments of the Emperor Commodus. Certain personalities stand out in the race as the most evil Roman emperor ever. Consider Caligula, whose extramarital affairs and perversions are still talked about today, or Nero, who gained notoriety for his ruthlessness and is said to have done nothing but play his lyre while Rome burned to the ground. However, no matter what kind of cruelty we are discussing, one name still wins the competition. Of course, we are talking about none other than Commodus, who has done almost every insane thing that a human mind can think of. Today we are here with another interesting video, in which you will get to know who Commodus was, what insane brutalities he has done, and what drove him crazy. So without wasting any more time, let's get right to it. Commodus, who ruled from 180 to 192 AD, practically abandoned his official responsibilities. Instead, he committed himself to his 300 female and male gladiators in his harem, played the gladiator in Rome's Colosseum, and gave orders to kill numerous enemies, associates, and close family members. He not only did little or nothing to stop Rome from burning while he was in charge, but he was also asked that the reconstructed city be given his name. He also thought of himself as the reincarnation of the legendary hero Hercules. Commodus was the oddest, most deranged of emperors, according to Michael KERRIGAN, author of A Dark History, the Roman emperors from Julius Caesar to the fall of Rome. Despite being little known today thanks to Joaquin Phoenix's depiction of him in the 2000 film Gladiator, Commodus was merely a 15-year-old boy. And even though Commodus was clearly and obviously not suitable for the position, his father, Marcus Aurelius, appointed him co-emperor and named him as his ultimate successor. Even from the earliest years, he was base and dishonorable, a cruel and lewd, defiled of mouth, moreover, and debauched. The early historian Aelius Lampridius wrote, "At the age of 18, Commodus had become the sole emperor after the unfortunate demise of his loved and adored Marcus in 180. His death is believed to have been caused by Commodus, but modern historians highly doubt this. Any replacement would have had a tough act to follow in Marcus. He is said to be the most humanitarian, decent, and philosophical of all emperors by Barry Strauss, professor of history and classics at Cornell University and author of 10 Caesars, Roman Emperors from Augustus to Constantine, 2019. The total opposite would actually apply to his son. Commodus relished the many extra benefits of his job, but he had no desire to do any of the work. He instead gave that authority to some of his closest associates. When he completely lost faith in them, he would have had them killed, often horribly, and choose a new representative. Commodus had ample spare time to indulge in other personal interests, including viewing and participating in gladiator battles, since he had an immense amount of wealth that he wasted on this ridiculous interest of his. He often slew in public large numbers of men and of beasts as well. Another early historian, Dio Cassius, wrote, "For example, all alone with his own hands, he dispatched 5 hippopotami, together with 2 elephants on 2 successive days, and he also killed rhinoceroses and a camelopard, which is a giraffe." The Roman elite class was completely captivated by the violent sports, but Commodus went over the top. He would actively engage in combat in an arena, which went against any and all accepted customs at the time. Early in his rule, he would welcome gladiators to his place and conduct mock battles there, in which he would murder them. Normally, the gladiators would simply have fake weapons, whereas he would be equipped. As if things couldn't get much worse, he made a decision to compete in the gladiatorial games held in Rome's Colosseum. He would pose as a gladiator, murder the handicapped, and then massacre gladiators. He would have either tied up or left disarmed all of his victims. The ones who got killed mercilessly had little or no hope of success. So guys, what is coming next that would startle you for sure? Commodus had a clear hunger for blood, yet he utilized his performances at the games to show off his strength. His brutality and violence were made very clear to his numerous opponents by the killing in the arena, which made people extremely wary of him. Commodus nearly drove the empire into bankruptcy with his extravagant behavior in the arena. He was compelled to devalue the coinage in order to pay his debts, which had potentially disastrous effects on the economy. Another day, he spared 100 bears from the protection of the arena's balcony, killing them all. He once gathered a big group of footless men, gave them serpent costumes to wear, gave them sponges to throw at him in place of rocks, and clubbed them to death while acting as if they were the giants. With real gladiators, he appeared to have been more cautious, never murdering any, but occasionally chopping off an ear or a nose. Of course, they were wise enough to let him prevail in their contests. Commodus supposedly boasted that he had won 12,000 games in the arena overall, and that he had done it with his left hand. Commodus was never very sane, and as his rule continued, he appeared to have grown increasingly and completely detached from reality. Although we don't know much about his early years in power, it seems that he developed paranoia following an attempt against him. Commodus's paranoia gradually evolved into violence and cruelty, as evidenced, for example, by his repeated attempts to murder the woman he loved, his mistress. After convincing himself that he was Hercules' reincarnation, he spent a fortune trying to persuade the rest of Rome. In order to further the comparison to Hercules, he removed Nero's head from the Colossus of Nero, a 100-foot bronze monument that stood next to the Colosseum, and substituted it with a model of his own head. He also gave the statue a club and a set of bronze lion at its feet. He also sent other statues of himself as Hercules, clad in animal skins and wielding a club, to the four corners of the Roman Empire. Crazy enough? Well, wait for a few more moments and you will see that Commodus was not only a violent ruler, but a self-centered monarch too. Moreover, Commodus made the decision to rename every month of the year after himself. For instance, October took on the name Hercules, while August changed to Commodus, and the remainder made reference to one of his several self-ascribed titles. He saw a chance to rename Rome Colonia Lucia Annia Commodiana, or Commodus's colony, when a fire decimated the city in 191. The name Roman would now be changed to Commodiani, and the Roman Senate would now be known as the Commodian Fortunate Senate. The Roman elite class didn't like Commodus's antics, but few dared to oppose him publicly or survive if they did. In 182, his own sister attempted to assassinate him. However, the would-be murderer was overpowered by guards after announcing his plans and failing to draw his sword. In response, Commodus had him killed along with several other people, both guilty and innocent. He briefly exiled his sister before having her slain as well. A botched assassination attempt in 187 was followed by success in 192. First, he was poisoned by two of his high-ranking officials, probably with the aid of his mistress, either with wine or beef depending on the account. They then brought in the pro wrestler Narcissus to kill him after the plan to kill him with poison failed to work. Commodus passed away at the age of 31. Author Philip Barlog ranks Commodus first in his 2021 book, Evil Roman Emperors, the shocking history of ancient Rome's most cruel rulers from Caligula to Nero and beyond, calling Commodus a self-indulgent, dim-witted oaf, as well as sick, nasty, sadistic, misguided. As terrible as Caligula and Nero ultimately turned out to be, historian Strauss adds that each of them began their reigns on high notes, whereas Commodus commenced off bad and continued to be that way. His actions in the arena, in particular, were embarrassing and unfit for his position as a monarch. If Commodus wasn't the worst emperor in ancient Roman history, Strauss says, he was certainly the most undignified in the eyes of the Roman elite. Commodus was indeed a pretty brutal emperor who had no mercy for anyone, be it his enemies, friends, or even his family. So guys, that's pretty much it. I hope you found the video informative and interesting. If yes, give a thumbs up to the video and let us know in the comment sections what you think was the main reason behind Commodus's cruelties. We will see you in our next video. Till then, take care.